in situations where you have to ask money and I have to sacrifice my own money, sacrifice my utility. I wouldn't pay my utility bill because I
Yeah.
want you to have this because you need this more than me right now. I used to be like that, but not anymore. Because it always ends up me not being able to pay my own bill.
Yeah.
Because it's also hard to say no sometimes to people who's
It
asked.
takes
So, like, for because I also borrow money. Running a business, I realize is hard. Because even if the the invoices are not paid yet, you cannot delay the salary
Yes.
of your
yeah, exactly.
employees. So there are times where Eli and I would like, okay, how can we survive for this month? Do we have money to pay for our people? Okay, that's good. How about for our food? How about for our bills? So there are those times, and it takes a lot of like courage to ask someone to borrow money, and
Yes.
it's also hard when you're not able to pay it back. So my way is, if I'm not able to pay it back, at least I will do it in installments. So I would message the
Okay.
person like, hey, I promise to pay it by this date, but the money that I have is only enough to actually accommodate for this month. So is it okay if I just pay you like 30% now, and then I'll settle this in the next few days? Is that okay, Shay?
No, it's not.
Is it emergency?
Life and death situation.
So that's usually what I do as well, because I've heard other people. Yeah, I don't want the people that I borrow money to be the one who would follow up
That's
on
so
me.
good of you.
Yeah,
That's so
so
good
I'm
of
the one
you.
who would proactively say it, because I know, it's hard, because especially if I'm doing it with friends, I know it really shakes the.
But
It would
not if
shake
you're
a friend.
responsible
Yeah.
enough to pay your due, or to at least inform like that,
Yeah.
that hey, I'm short. I'm gonna. That's a good way. I mean, if I'm your friend, I would think, oh, that's a good one. I don't have to think like, is she gonna pay me tomorrow? Is she gonna pay me next month? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's expectations set in there, and that's really good.
So I guess that's also what I want to tell everyone. Like, there are moments that we get short, and it's hard to borrow money. And if you're not able to pay it back, don't ghost the person. Don't
Exactly.
like.
Don't block them on Facebook.
It's so much better to just be vulnerable and just say the truth, and actually try to do your best to be able to repay it in the times that you can, because that really ruins the friendship, that ruins the relationship if you just decided to block. And what if you'll be in a struggling position again? You will lose the people around you if you start doing that. So, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not a fan of borrowing money. I don't like the headache. I think it's because I save a lot of money, so I always have emergency money. So I think this is my fear. One of my fears is borrowing money that I cannot pay. And I don't like to have enemies or anyone that hates me because I borrowed money, and I wasn't able to pay it. So yeah, but when someone would borrow money from me, I never really lended money anymore ever since I had like few occasions that someone borrowed money from me and didn't pay, and they blocked me.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and I don't like the feeling of being angry because this person didn't pay me, disrespected me, and I posted it on Facebook. It was so embarrassing for me. It's so humiliating. So yeah.
You're the one humiliated.
Yes. And I humiliate myself by posting on Facebook.
Also would like to add, if you're not like, because you discipline yourself enough that you don't want to borrow money from other people, and the people around you notice that you don't really borrow money from other people, and the one of the disadvantages is that they think you're actually financially capable because you don't borrow money. And I think some of the people that I hung out with before sees that you know I don't ask money from them, so it's always them asking money from me. And yes,
Become the
exactly,
target.
because they have this assumption that, oh, she's not borrowing money, like she has lots of money. So yeah, but again, it's I am not rich, and we're not rich, but we do get short. And I remember when I was still working in a call center, and I get short every month with my finances.
Okay.
And this was because, I had to, what do you call this? You try to please your parents by getting them appliances and all that. And so
Okay. Oh
I was
yeah.
paying monthly for those. And
Okay.
it got to the point where it's payday, but I'm so broke because
Mm.
everything goes to
Goes
that
to
debt,
the
that debt, right?
yeah.
Just to please your parents or to please someone.
Mm.
And there were occasions where 5 days before payday, I only have like 20 pesos left.
Oh.
So what would I do at the time? What would I always do? What I always did at the time was, when I was so broke, again, I do not want to borrow money from anybody. So what I did was, I always just leave the kids at my parents, because I know there's always rice there, right? And when you have rice, it's okay because you can
Yeah.
eat rice with salt, you can eat rice with soy sauce
Yeah.
or cooking
With
oil.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would always just leave the kids over there, and
Mm.
I wouldn't eat 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
Or just like, probably, I don't know, if friends are going to invite me for dinner or for something, I would definitely go because I don't have food at home. And it was like a monthly occurrence before, but borrowing money from people is probably
Your
like at the
last
at the
option.
bottom 20 on my list, because I know people are working so hard for that money. And will I be able to actually pay that money, because I know I have debt to pay, because I was pleasing my parents, getting these appliances for them and for that. So, but yes, I learned that you know your lifestyle has to really be
Yeah.
matching with how much you're earning.
I love that. Yeah,
And
true.
if you can, you we really need to kind of like save half of our earnings.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to add the story why I don't like asking or debt. I don't like it because growing up, my mom was an OFW and she would ask the sari-sari store for us to
Ah,
go
yeah.
utang,
Yeah.
and sometimes she delays paying the utang, so the owner of the sari-sari store will be like smirking at us, angry at us because we're there again asking for rice and sardines or soy sauce. So I hated the feeling of begging someone to give us food, and I made it like my goal to not owe anyone. And growing up also, I grew up not having food, like not eating the whole day because we don't have any food. So I also promised myself that I'm not gonna let myself starve again. So whatever money I have, I would save it, and like to make sure that I can eat at least once a day. So it was like so young and so hungry. So that's like the motivation of me to not have debt and to save money. Yes.
And that's how we learn, is when we go
Exactly.
through those hard situation, we go through
Yes.
suffering. So if I see some of my family members also having a hard time, if it's not life or death, I would let them go through those sufferings because they will be able to learn. Maya was able to save a lot. Maybe I didn't suffer enough. So I didn't learn how to save.
Like asking,
Me too.
2 days wake up old. Like when I remember when I was growing up, like we don't have any food, and we have banana trees, and even banana trees we don't have bananas. So it's like you feel so lost and you're so young, you feel so alone. I would promise to myself I'm not gonna go through this again. And I was like 10 or 11 at that time. So that's my motivation. So I think my money that is like from rooted save from, I remember I saved like 20 pesos. I think I still have that that 20 pesos until now.
Wow.
Yes. That's how motivated I am.
That's amazing.
One more. She
Yes.
mentioned about, eating once a day. And I
Mm.
think maybe we Filipinos are so poor because we eat three times a day, right? It's like 1 kilo of rice per meal for everybody, right? 1 kilo of rice for breakfast, 1 kilo. That's 3 kilos. I mean, there's for me it makes sense because we don't really need to eat three times a day. Once a day for me is great, right? So maybe that's one of the reasons too, right?
Exactly. Our parents used to like we have to eat 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how you transform the experience, the hardships and suffering into something productive now in the present moment. That's really, really, really amazing, and I salute you for that. Oh, what about strangers?
No way.
No, because it's funny because yesterday I got approached by someone. I really
experienced
didn't know her. I don't know her. Like she's the worker of our neighbor, and I just like saw her like many times. Like hi, hello, bye. I don't even know her name. So she came to me, and she said like this, ma'am, do you have GCash? Yes, I do have. Because ma'am, I need to transfer money to my GCash. Okay, but she's not bringing any money. I'm like, okay, how much is it? 1,500, ma'am. 1,500. And why can't you transfer it? Like, why me? And she said, oh, because my madam is not yet there. And I'm like, oh, she's coming soon because I texted her that I know that she's coming soon. So don't worry, she's coming soon. And she's like, okay. And she left. Like, I can sense that the intention was something weird, you know? And that's something that you need to watch out because even strangers also, they do try. And especially now there's GCash, it's easy to just transfer. You said you experienced a
I
stranger?
experienced a stranger when I was in Ayala Mall in Cebu. Standing, someone approached me, and he said it was a gay guy. He said that he got robbed, and all his money was like taken out, and he can't go
Oh.
home. So maybe
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're some. I'm looking at the people, and you're the only person who I feel comfortable approaching because you seem
Wow,
approachable.
very good approach.
Like, I have books here. Can I exchange book for cash? At least just a fare for me to go home. So that's the only
Okay.
time that a stranger.
At least there's an energy exchange. Like
Yeah,
he
a
offers
book.
something because I also experienced in the mall like really good looking people like asking for fare. Like I cannot go home. Can you please just give me 20 pesos? Huh? It's like it's so weird. Maybe you can go to the admin of the mall, and yeah, so there are instances like that. So is there anything else you wanna like maybe like a final advice to everyone watching? Like how are you going to like give an advice when this happens? Or what advice can you give if this happens to them, especially for those who are just coming for the first time and they want to impress, especially if they have a Filipina girlfriend and they want to impress the family and friends and so how are you going to
Well-
what's your advice on that?
Well, I guess just be careful when it comes to money. Don't just lend it. I mean, I think you can give from your heart, but not like give everything that you have or accommodate whatever they want because they will get used to it and they will take advantage of your kindness. So put boundaries in your relationship with the family of your Filipina.
Thank you, Maya. Gladys.
I think borrowing money is not really, for me, it's not necessarily a bad thing, especially now that I'm starting a business. Sometimes you need to loan so that you can start to create something. It's like for you to be able to start investing. I thought, oh, I will not start a business if I don't have a capital. If it's small business, maybe that's not a good idea. But if you can see that the stake is higher when you start that, then that's totally fine. And just like what I said, if you're not able to uh, pay your debt in the time that you said so, just come forward. Be vulnerable in admitting that you can't, instead of blocking and instead of like running away from people who actually help you. You know, I think they will be able to understand that better, and they would even appreciate that if you do it. And yeah, I'm guilty of it. But it's so freaking hard, and even that, it makes me feel actually shy. So as much as possible, not doing it with friends because it really has that energy that would strain it. And thank you to some banks and all of that who's offering those loan. And I would really love to learn also from Maya. I love the mentality of saving. I never really ingrained the saving thing in myself. Like if I have the money, I would just think of ways of how I can how I could spend it. Yeah, I'm not in a habit of actually saving. So I think that would be something that I would put into my bucket list of intention for next year. And I'm gonna ask Maya her strategy.
That's so cool.
And this is a an advice to the foreigners, right?
Yeah. Or
Okay.
to anyone watching.
Okay. Well, it is always nice to help. You know, it is so satisfying to help people. But I guess helping the right people is the key because, like I said earlier, you know, it's like you said, there's no, it's not a bad thing when you borrow money. You have to lend people money, lend the right people money, and for them to spend those to the right places. Because again, with a Shopee, Lazada thing,
And Shane.
online deliveries, and you don't have cash, that's your addiction that you kept on ordering stuff online and you cannot pay. So you shouldn't expect anybody to rescue you for that. But yeah, you know, lending money to people is an individual's preference, and just make sure that you know the money that you have given them is actually intended to what they said is, you know, going for. um, but yeah, it is hard to say no, but then you just really have to say no most of the time when it comes to money.
Even if it's hard, we have to. So yeah, the boundaries is important. And just to summarize, the boundary and the learning and the saving, and also I would also emphasize the investing. Like I don't know if you have read the book of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad and Poor Dad, where after you try to, like, you already have the savings, then it's also good to invest it. And I actually did that when I was a kid because usually it was not even my parents was giving me 10 pesos. It was like the uncles or the what's this the my grandma who gives me like 10 or 20 pesos, and I'm like, what can I do to grow this? So I usually buy some chocolates and I sell it to my classmates, and and I figure out like, oh, okay, I can actually grow my 20 pesos into something. And if the uncle, for example, I don't have anything and there's like a project, and I will promise my uncle, like, sometimes I really have to beg, sadly. Like I was saying to my aunt, like, can you just let me borrow 20? I promise you I'll give you back twice the amount tomorrow. And it becomes like a challenge for me, because there was always like very, very small. Like we had, we had not much, and it's like in the family we are like, how to say this, you're the only one that is not well off, and then the rest are having, like, you can see that why are we like this? And so sometimes, sadly, I had to beg for help, but then I promise something in return, that I need to grow, and to grow the money that I'm gonna give back. And that gave me actually the skill of entrepreneur, which unconsciously it grew. And now trying to make more of that skill, and still learning a lot. My God, when it comes to finances, the saving, the investing, and all of this stuff, it's really a big world out there. And there are, of course, there were losses and stuff like that. But then for me, it's something that we all should learn, especially as Filipinos, something that we should try to open up a little bit more in learning. Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much. I really, really love all of your. I didn't expect this, to be honest, to be this beautiful. Like we're just I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have a very simple topic, utang. But you see how, yeah, I really love your experiences and the way you also share the wisdom, the experiences, and how we are learning from each of you. As in, grateful. Thank you so much. So yes, thank you guys. I'll see you soon again.